Lesbian Detectives. Unsolved cases. She's still missing. Yeah, they haven't found her yet. Well, let's talk about it.
They say he vanished without a trace. Could it be a psychotic break or a tragic accident? Police don't know where the body went. Unsolved murders, body still missing. That's unheard. Where's the witness? Lesbian detectives, what's going on? City on high alert, this out the norm. He did what, the who? Man, that ain't real, these crimes ain't true. Then come uncover these theories with us. We live right now, tuning in is a must.
Right now. Lesbian Detectives. Lesbian Detectives. We about to start the show, so get your popcorn ready to go. Pay attention to the message I present to you, the Lesbian Detectives.
This is Lesbian Detectives. I'm Sierra.
And I'm Elizabeth.
And we are here to talk about missing and unsolved murders.
We are discussing cases that you have forgotten about or never even heard of.
So sit back, relax, and let's start this podcast. Welcome back, everybody. I hope you had a fantastic week. I know we did. We had a long weekend. And off track right quick, if anybody watched The Real Housewife of Salt Lake City, inbox me because that episode, 10 out of 10. I loved it. My wife doesn't watch it with me, so.
I watched the first episode. I couldn't get into it.
She could not get into it, but a little off track right there. A little off track. I'm sorry, but I had to just announce it. This episode right here, I actually got the idea from you. My wife loved watching documentaries.
I do. I just watched The Curious Case of Natalie Grace. Y'all need to watch that.
But you was watching one on Netflix about Jerry Springer.
Uh-huh.
And you remember it's a situation where a husband went on there with his mistress or something like that.
Yes.
And then they found out that they killed the wife afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
This case is kind of similar to that one.
Oh, I thought that was the case.
No, it's not. It's not, guys. But this case kind of is solved, so we wouldn't be doing that case on here because we do missing and unsolved murders.
That's right.
But when you was watching it, I was like, oh my God, I know a case that's kind of similar to that situation.
Right.
I need to do it.
Okay.
Because I like, have anybody really heard this case before? Because I kind of heard it a little bit like through the grapevines, but I never really did the research and found out what happened about it. Today's case takes place in 2011. A woman seems to have it all. A thriving business, 3 beloved children, and a fresh start in a new relationship. But beneath the surface of a bright future lay the remains of a troubled past with her ex-partner who refused to let go. An impulsive act during an argument left a costly engagement ring missing. When their dispute played out publicly on national TV, embarrassment seems to be the worst of it. But the darkness was only beginning to creep in. One fateful afternoon, after dropping off her children, she vanished without a trace. Her vehicle was abandoned. A single word text raises unsettled questions. Her family growing dread, turning to desperation, searches for answers. As the days stretch into weeks, secrets and shadows emerge, pointing towards a chilling possibility that someone close to her knew more than they let on. The case remains puzzling, unanswered questions, leaving everyone to wonder what truly happened that day. This is the case of Michelle Parker. Born on November 20th, 1975, Michelle Parker had carved out a life full of hard work and dedication. By 2011, a 33-year-old mother of 3, Michelle's life was full of love, ambition, and hard work. She was a dedicated parent, raising her 11-year-old son from a previous relationship alongside her 3-year-old twins, who she shared custody with her ex-fiancé, Dale Smith. Michelle's bubbly spirit shined through a successful business, Glow Mobile Airbrush Tanning, in her blossom relationship with Nathan Mitchell. But behind her radiant smile lay the lingering shadow of a vicious past with Dale. a shadow that will consume her whole life. The history between Michelle and Dell was far from ordinary. Their relationship had been a whirlwind of passion, arguments, and breakup. A key moment came during a heated dispute when Michelle, in a fit of anger, hurled her 5,000 engagement ring off a hotel balcony. That act, full of anger and alcohol, marked a turning point in the relationship. By the time of her disappearance, Michelle had moved on from Dell, but he remained a looming presence due to their shared custody of the twins. Dell's past was marked by troubled behavior that cast a long shadow over his character. A former Marine disarmed discharge, Dell carried a history of unresolved anger and violent tendency. In February 2001, Dell was court-martialed on drug charges and a domestic battery charge and was sentenced to 36 months in prison. While he was behind bars, his new wife tragically died of a brain injury after consuming too much ecstasy. Dell's personal life continued after his release, and Michelle too experienced his wrath. During their relationship, according to Michelle's oldest son, Dell once attacked Michelle in front of all three of her children. Less than a month after the couple of twins turned 1, Michelle moved her children out of Dell's house into her mother's home. Later that year, she filed a restraining order after Dell allegedly broke their passenger window in her car. Court records show that during the altercation, Dell held their 15-month-old daughter and shouted at Michelle, "Your day is coming." Friends and family of Michelle described Dell as controlling, possessive, and prone to have explosive outbursts, traits that strained the relationship and raises questions after Michelle went missing. Dell reached a new high when he submitted their dispute over their engagement ring to people court, one of the same show Michelle enjoyed watching and laughing at. The appearance gave the country an inside look at the chaos that dominated much of the relationship. In the courtroom, Michelle bravely aired their troubling past. "He get pretty malicious and vindictive sometimes, especially when he's drinking," she told the judge. "He shouldn't have put his hands on me. He shouldn't have put his hands on me prior. He shouldn't have left me 3 or 4 times over the past year and a half that we've been together." Michelle accused Dell of cheating on her at least 7 different times.
Wow.
7 times?
Right.
Ooh.
She was there because she wanted to be there, honestly. You got one time,
1 time.
and that's just done.
But 7?
And I'm not even giving you permission to cheat the one time. You did it once, it's done.
Explain how they locked in a bitter custody battle over the twins. The judge ruled in Dell's favor, ordering Michelle to pay $2,500 for the ring. For Michelle, the television confrontation was deeply embarrassing. Her mother, Yvonne Stewart, later recalled Michelle telling her, "It was the most embarrassing experience of my life. I don't ever want to see it. I wish I never gone."
On November 17th, 2011, the quiet hum of daily life in Orlando, Florida, was shattered by an unfolding mystery that continues to haunt the hearts of those who knew Michelle. On that fateful November day in 2011, Michelle's personal and public worlds collided. An episode of The People's Court featuring her and Dale aired, showcasing their unresolved dispute. After the episode aired, Michelle went about her day, unaware that it would be her last. At 3:20 p.m., surveillance cameras captured her black 2007 Hummer entering the Carter Glen condominiums where Dale lived. This was the last confirmed sighting of Michelle. By 3:30 p.m., she had vanished without a trace. At 4:26 p.m., Michelle's brother, Dustin, received a peculiar text message from her phone that simply read, "Waterford." The brevity and vagueness of the message struck Dustin as uncharacteristic of his sister, who was known for her warm and detailed communication. It was as if the text had been sent by someone else. At 6:50, Michelle's oldest son called Michelle's sister, Lauren Erickson, to find out if she knew where his mom was. When Michelle failed to show up for her bartending shift later that evening, the alarm bells went off. Her family was deeply concerned. At 8 p.m., Michelle was reported missing. Unfortunately, since adults have every right to leave of their own accord, the police typically must wait 24 hours to investigate a disappearance. It was up to Michelle's family to get the ball rolling. The following day, her abandoned Hummer was discovered near the mall at Millennial. The vehicle's decals advertising her business had been meticulously peeled off, a chilling detail suggesting a calculated effort to erase her identity. If the mall at Millennial sounds familiar, that's probably because another missing woman, Jennifer Kissy, lived across the street from the mall. Jennifer disappeared in 2006 and has never been found. The working theory in her case is that she was abducted and killed by construction workers during renovations at her condominium's complex.
So I actually covered that case right there on True Crime 1 Minute. It's on our TikTok, Lesbian Detective, and also on our YouTube. So I go more into detail about that if you guys want to check it out. It's very interesting case. But my wife is always saying, like, when we do these cases, do you think it's like a serial killer? Like any other cases might go into hand?
In this case, we know that there's another alleged victim. For Michelle's family, the eerie connection between the two cases only deepened the sense of fear. Searchers had little to go on, but Michelle's cell phone pinged around Oak Ridge near Belle Isle, some 7 miles from where she was last seen. At 8 p.m. on the night of November the 17th, the phone was apparently turned off. Weeks later, divers searched the waters near a bridge close to Dale's home and recovered her phone. It was a grim find that deepened the mystery but offered no definitive answers. Between sobs, Yvonne, Michelle's mother, said at the time, "I feel like it's not going to end well now. Maybe we'll find her and she'd be alive. And I just don't think it's going to happen now." From the beginning, Dale was only willing to cooperate with the investigation up to a certain point and refused to take a polygraph test. Shortly after Thanksgiving, Orlando Police Chief Paul Rooney announced during a press conference that Dale Smith was the sole suspect in Michelle's disappearance. Speaking to the cameras and the news reporters, Yvonne said, "If you could have avoided this, Dale, if you had cooperated with the police and took a polygraph test when we asked you to, you could have avoided a lot of stress. So unfortunately, you brought this on yourself. We're not going to stop until we find out who did this." On the weekend after Thanksgiving, SWAT teams raided the home of Dale's father, which sat just 2 miles from the search command center, as well as the area where Michelle's cell phone was last pinged. On November 29th, Florida's Department of Children and Families filed a petition to remove the children from Dale's custody due to a history of violence against women. The twins were placed under the care of Dale's parents. The separation was short-lived. However, when a judge ruled the very next day that there was no cause to grant the department's petition and return the twins to Dale. The Parker family was understandably nervous about the children remaining in Dale's care. After Utah wife and mother Susan Powell disappeared, her husband Josh Powell was named the lone suspect in the case. He was awarded custody of the couple's 2 children after a custody battle with Susan's parents, and he ended up brutally murdering them and killing himself. In December of 2011, a custody agreement was reached between the Parker family and Dale Smith, allowing the Parker family to see the twins regularly. In January 2012, officials investigated the home life of the twins based on the previous allegations of abuse by Dale Smith. Officials ruled in favor of leaving the children in Dale's custody. But at some point, Dale decided he would no longer allow the twins to visit with the Parker family. Was he simply angry at Child Protective Service investigating him? Or was he trying to shovel more dirt on a murder he was covering up? All we can do is speculate. But he was selfishly deciding to keep his kids from seeing the only people who had a connection to their mother, and kept Michelle's family from seeing the only connections to their daughter.
There was little Yvonne and Michelle's dad, Brad Parker, could do. In 2018, despite the passage of law in Florida allowing grandparents visitation rights, a judge rejected Brad's petition to be able to see his grandchildren. The legislation which grant grandparents visitation rights in cases where both parents are dead or missing, or if one of the parents is dead and the other parent is convicted of a felony, which was the case with Dale, was passed in 2015. Yvonne advocated for the legislation, but in the end, it did her no favors. When the children returned to Dale custody, Yvonne swallowed her pride, suspicion, and grief and embraced Dale Smith outside the courtroom. Sadly, the judge's rejection of Parker's petition means they won't be able to see the youngest grandchildren until 2024, when the children turn 18.
God, that's sad.
There is no physical evidence connecting Dale to Michelle's disappearance, and while I assume that she's dead, there has never been a shred of evidence that linked Dale to the crime. But based on Dale's past violent behavior and his unwillingness to allow the twins to see the Parker family, the Parkers were determined to hold Dale responsible for Michelle's disappearance, even if it wasn't criminal court. In 2013, the Parkers made a bold move in her relentless search for the justice. She filed a wrongful death suit against Dale Smith, seeking more than $15,000 in damages. Her claim was rooted in devastation accusation that Dale neglectfully or wrongfully acted his part in the cause of death of her daughter, Michelle Lee Parker. The Parkers' attorney at the time, the renowned John Morgan, stood firm, assessing they were prepared to reveal critical details of what they believed had transpired. Morgan's team claimed to have uncovered texts between Michelle and Dale, messages that believed point directly to Dale guilty. We think we have some pieces that were paired with testimony may tell a fuller story, Morgan said, and that testimony must come from Dale and his parents. But the road to justice was nothing but smooth. In May 2014, a judge granted a motion to dismiss the lawsuit. Dale's attorney argued that the family had no evidence to prove Michelle was dead, no death certificate, no proof at all. Still, the judge left the door open for the Parkers to allow them a chance to refile the case. And refile they did, just days after dismissal. Years passed and the battle in courts went on. By November 18, the case faced another ruling when the defense made to dismiss it, citing inactivity since 2017. The law was clear, a stalled case could be dismissed, but the Parker new attorney, Perry, pushed back. He explained the delay. His team had been seeking to dispose the lead investigator and access critical files, some of which protected. As of today, a wrongful death lawsuit remains unsolved. The case itself has grown colder. No developments for the years, yet Michelle's family holds onto hope. With the appointment of a new Orlando police chief, they pray for fresher eyes. Michelle's mother continued to carry the torch for her daughter. I'm Michelle's voice because Michelle is not here, she said in November 2019. Michelle is telling me to speak out to find her, and I'm doing it. It hurts, but I'm strong for my grandchildren. Theories about Michelle's fate, while many include her family and law enforcement believe Dale Smith is responsible, there remains the possibility that Michelle fell victim of a carjacking, a theory her family didn't consider. For now, the truth remains unsolved. And with many unsolved cases, it may take a single breakthrough, a piece of evidence, or someone to have the courage to come forward to unravel the mystery. If Dale Smith did take Michelle's life, he shows no sign of confessing. One haunting question lingered in the minds of many. Was Michelle's disappearance premeditated? It's a chilling coincidence, one that cannot be ignored. Before we end this case, let's sit back and remember the mother that went missing. Michelle Parker was a vibrant and loving mother who worked hard to build a life of warmth and hope, a dedicated parent to her 3 children. Michelle balanced the challenge of motherhood with running her own successful business, all while navigating the ups and downs of a life with a past that wasn't uneasy. Despite the struggle she faced, Michelle's heart remained full of love. She always dreamed of a brighter future for her kids. Her journey, however, was tragically cut short, leaving behind a family that continued to carry her memory for strength and love. Michelle's spirit lives on the hearts who knew her, especially her kids, who hold onto the hopes that one day the truth will bring peace. Though the answers remains unsolved, her family, determined to seek justice, reflects the unbreakable bond they share with her, a bond that would never fade away. Michelle will always be remembered for her beautiful smile, her fierce love for her family, and the hope that she gave to everyone around her. This is the case of Michelle L. Parker. Now let's get into some theories.
Let's get into some theories.
Okay, you or me?
Go ahead. Ladies first.
I love taking it first. I think it was Dale. Let's be honest. We all know it was Dale. But to prove it was him is going to be difficult.
Yeah.
Do I think he buried her body? No. We're in Florida. And I feel like because you have been making me watch Dexter a lot.
That's what I was about to say.
Yeah, so I feel like he threw her in a swamp.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because she would not be found. Like, no offense or nothing, and don't judge me, guys. If I was committing murder and I was in Florida, I would do that. I would throw that person in a swamp because when they in that swamp, it's over with. You ain't finna find. You probably found a arm or a leg 10 years or 30 years from now, but it's not really a possibility of that happening.
Right.
To me, I feel like what happened, we always got to remember what happened that day. The episode of People Court went out. She was so embarrassed. I think when he dropped her off, I feel like he probably said something kind of shady to her, like, haha, like, did you see the episode or something like that? Mm-hmm. Or he could have said, like, hey, I haven't got my money yet. Because we don't know if she paid him yet. We don't know that.
Right.
So I feel like that could have started an argument. And I feel like he thought that she was going to take it like she usually do. Like, I don't know if she always was standing up to him, but it seemed like he was the type of man that he likes control. He likes to be the leader. But I feel like in that moment, she didn't back down from him. Mm-hmm. I feel like he didn't mean to kill her that day. Like, I feel like he was like planning on killing her. I don't feel like it. I feel like it was a heat of an argument. And he might have hit her because she said that he put his hands on her a couple times.
Right.
He probably had another woman there, right? And she probably said something slick like, hey, go with your girlfriend, something slick like that. And he probably pushed her or hit her. And then she passed away instantly, like hit her head. And he like, oh, shoot, I messed up.
You think it was an accident?
I think it was because how it was to me, it seemed that she was just coming to drop the kids off and leave. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't seem like he was planning on killing her at all. I feel like she probably...
Like he got provoked?
He got provoked. And a type of man like that, it could have been her saying like the sky is blue could have provoked him. Because they so easily...
Or it could have been like him saying, oh, you got my money. And she said something along the lines of, no, you're never going to get it or something. And so... Men like that like to belittle, but they don't like to feel belittled themselves.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And I feel like his side piece or his new girlfriend could have been there because I feel like he had help. Why I said that for it, because if he did kill her right there, I felt like his girlfriend could have just drove her car because the police say you see her car leaving, but you don't know who's driving the car. So to me, I feel like he probably told like, hey, like get in the car and like drive up. Like he probably had to come up with a plan so quickly.
Yeah, because I would imagine it's hard to dispose of a body and have your twins right there. Like it's hard to do both.
I feel like the twins saw something, and they was 3 at the time, and it's probably hard for them to figure out what really happened because they're 3. Mm-hmm. So we don't know like if they was like speaking well, could really communicate well with the people. We don't know that.
Do they know who his girlfriend was at the time?
So they don't even know, like, we don't know if he really did have a girlfriend. I'm just saying, like, if he had one. Mine's allegedly girlfriend. But when I read in his history, he was the type of man that he could not be single. He always had a girl. Like, after his wife passed away, he had another one. Then he had Michelle. Then he had another one. He cheated on her 7 times. It could have been one of his, like, affair partners that he did it with. We don't know. But I felt like he did not act alone. I feel like whoever he did it with is very important. I feel like if we know who was there at the house with him, that could solve a lot, because it's always 2 people who commit crimes. You have the alpha and you have the omega. And I feel like he was the alpha. He controlled everything. But the person, the omega, is weak. They're easy to, like, manipulate. The police could easily go for that person, be like, hey, we have a deal for you. Tell us what happened. They could easily solve.
So what time did the car drive off?
It seemed around 3:30 or 3:40. All the police said that they have the footage of her leaving. They said that she just went missing at 3:30. So it seemed like to me it's probably 3:30. I feel like I'm right, but if not, you can correct me in the comment. But it seemed like it's 3:30, 3:40.
Okay, and she got there at like 3:20.
Yes.
So I do feel like maybe somebody helped. Because who was going to watch the kids while he disposed of the body? Unless he left it behind, took the kids somewhere else, and then came back and disposed of the body.
One thing I could not find out, and it probably is, like, hidden from us, but when they found her car, how was her driver's seat? Was it pushed, like, how was she driving? Was it push more back? Or because that's very important, because think about it. If it was like in her height, okay, semi similar to her height, but if it was like pushed back to his height level,
Right.
that would tell us more to say, like, okay, she wasn't driving the car. We don't know that fact. I feel like the police is hiding that from us, but that is a very important fact. Like, how was the seat?
Or did they check the trunk or anything for like bodily fluids or blood or something?
Well, when they did her car, they looked at everything, but we will not know what they found, because I'm trying to ask, how was the driver's seat? We don't really know that information, which, I mean, it's very important to the police to keep that information for us. I feel like the seat probably was to his height. And only reason I say that because after their car is found in the foam and stuff like that, the police said, yeah, he's our suspect.
I wonder what his alibi was, though.
His alibi was like he was at home with the kids because he was watching his kids. And I feel like the only reason they can prove it probably because his phone pinged at his house. But it really never tell us his alibi, because I really look for, like, what was his alibi? But the police never came out and said what was his alibi. I feel like the police have so much evidence against him, we will really never know until he's charged.
Yeah.
So when I do cases, I always look up to see if they have a page, like a social media page dedicated to the person that went missing. I went on her page and it was so sad. Like, the most recent post is about talking about her twins that they haven't seen. That the twins, they turned 18 last year. They could have came and saw them, and they said that they really, to this day, we don't know if the twins came, but it said that they haven't saw them, and it was like in November. And I think that's the hardest part, because 3 things can be known. He probably turned them against her family.
Probably.
Or they're scared of him to reach out to that family members. Or they really don't know. And that is a possibility. There was around 3 or 4 at a time that she went missing, and 4 was the last time that the parents saw the kids. So it's not hard to, like, fix their mind or, like, trying to change them. Like, hey, like, you don't have no grandparents, or your mama left you. They really don't know.
I wonder if the other siblings, there's half siblings, try to reach out to them. Because I know, like, once upon a time you tried to do that.
The family said they have not heard from them. Because after everything went down, I know that he moved away from where they were staying. Like, hours away. And then I saw recently he moved back, but like 2 hours or 3 hours away from the family. So they're back close with the family's at. So I just wonder, do the kids know? Because I feel like if they look up, they will see her information. They will find out, because social media.
Right.
Google, they would see like, hey, my mom went missing, but we don't know what he told the kids or what the family told the kids. They probably said, hey, like your mom ran away.
Or your mom's gone, like forget about her type thing.
Yeah, because he could have easily said, hey, like your mom ran away. She didn't want to be a mother no more because she did just go missing. He could play on it like, hey, yeah, she didn't get kidnapped or anything like that or adopted. She just ran away. And that's kind of easy to inform them, like have
Right.
proof. One thing I have to say about the law is they really play in the family because you see that this man is already charged. I mean, you see that this man is a suspect. The family should have got some type of custody arrangement with them. And as we were saying in the case, Susan Powell, that's a sad case because she did go missing. Her husband did kill the kids and himself with a fire because I saw that documentary. It was so sad because you hear the social worker telling what happened that day because she was there. It was a supervised visit. So he grabbed the kids and put them in the house. And she's banging on the door calling the police like, hey, you need to come and help us. They didn't even get close to there because he blew up the whole house with the kids in there. And I see why her family was scared about that situation because we see that he is a violent person. Mm-hmm. Hopefully he never touched his kids. He was abusive to his partners.
Right.
So hopefully he didn't like abuse his kids or anything like that. Hopefully that he was a decent dad because like the family did say like he was a good dad to the kids. I don't know. It's just hard to think about the grandparents and the kids. They have an older brother. He was 11. It's like he lost his mom and his siblings. He couldn't talk to his siblings no more.
Right.
That's just so sad. Like he saw his mom get beaten by the boyfriend.
Right.
And now his mother's missing, his siblings gone, his grandparents fighting. It's just difficult.
Right. I mean, that's the only suspect I feel like we have, and he had enough motives to do what he did. And kind of like you were saying, I feel like he did get triggered. I feel like the day that she dropped him off, especially with the show airing, like something happened, something went down, and unfortunately, like that was the end of it.
We also talk about Jennifer in the case. And I can tell you guys like a little summary about it that one day she went to work, she got in her car, she drove off, she never made it to work. She was having a lot of problem with people that was the construction workers at her complex. They was doing catcalling, they were harassing her. She told her dad, her dad was like, hey, like this is what you need to do. And she listened to her dad, but she just went missing.
Right.
She's never been seen again. And they tied that because they kind of went, I won't say the same way to me. And if you look at Jennifer and you look at Michelle, I know sometimes they would go for a similar type. They're not really similar type. And also they're not in the same age group. Like Michelle was like 33. Jennifer was like in her 20s. So there's like a kind of big, like not big gap, but like it's kind of different. So I don't see the case is similar with them. I do not see them similar. Allegedly, it's Dell. Allegedly. We're not saying if it's him or not, but our theory is all the fingers point to him. I do believe that he had help. I do believe he had help. I believe that someone was there when she got there. I think he provoked her. She said something back to him. He didn't like it. And he was trying to like tough up at her like, yeah, what you going to do? And she probably said, hey, I'm going to stand up for myself. She probably was already mad about her being on People Court TV and dealing with that and people knowing all her business. And then she had to pay $2,500 for the ring. Let me tell you something. She shouldn't have to pay. In the law, the engagement ring was a gift.
Yeah.
If she threw it away, that's her gift. She shouldn't have to pay for it. That's the law. And to me, the judge was weak. I just think about this case. Just think about this case for a second. The judges that the family had sucked. And I'm going to say it. They sucked. Because the lawful death suit, that's still going on. The judge about the custody, they had a law for if someone went missing or if they was in jail, that the grandparents can have custody of the kids with the other parent. Why wasn't that held? Why wasn't the other... That's the crazy thing. Why didn't they get shared custody? If that's the law, they should have got shared custody of him, of the
Right.
twins. I don't understand that part. Like, what was the judge like? Oh, why didn't he? Like, that's the crazy thing. Like, why didn't the grandparents have custody?
Right.
I think he was scared for the grandparents to really have custody. People could say, oh, he was scared that the grandparents might talk bad about him. I think he was scared that the twins might say something.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Because, is he really scared that the twins will have something negative about him? Probably, but they're 3. They probably was there when it happened. They probably say, yeah, daddy was over mommy. She was on the floor. You know, we all know little kids will tell your business out of nowhere. Like, you could be brushing their hair talking about the skies, but they were like, oh, I saw mommy doing this. You were like, girl, we was not talking about that. Why is you spilling? Because little kids would spill your tea. I have a couple friends' kids that would spill their parents' tea. And I'm not ready for the day that my child spilled my tea. So, like, I'm trying to, like, not do a lot around her because, Lord have mercy. But, I mean, that is a possibility. You have to think about everything of this case. I think he was scared. I really think he was scared that those twins was going to say something. And I hope that the twins are getting the therapy that they need, because think if they really saw their mother getting murdered and then they live with their father. And also, we don't know if the girlfriend or the person who helped him is still in those kids' life.
Right.
And they're still dealing with that situation. I hope the twins get the help that they need. And also, I hope the twins reach out to their grandparents.
Yeah, because they should be turning
They're
18.
They're 18 now. Well, like last year. But we don't know, like, I don't know when their birthday is. We don't know if they still in high school, too. You got to think about that.
Right.
So if they were still in high school, they probably have another year, like it's probably their last year. They're probably going to reach out there. But as we said, we don't even know if they know.
Right.
That's another thing, because it seemed like even when he lost custody of the kids, they went to his parents. So, you know, and it seemed like his parents are hiding what he's doing, because, no offense or nothing, sorry to say this, but I dislike parents like this, that they know their kid is like a mean person, like abusive, all this stuff, and they don't really care. Like, they try to hide their kids' faults and like, oh no, my kid's not like this, no, my kid's not this type of person, but your kid is.
Yeah.
You shouldn't hide their faults because you don't want them to go to jail. You should be that parent like, hey, no.
Right.
You need to tell us what you did. Because I feel like the parents might know. For sure, the parents might know. Because they checked the father land in his house and stuff. Come on.
I believe it was Dale. Mm-hmm. Honestly, we didn't get any other suspects, and he's the one that had the most to lose. Mm-hmm. They had been fighting. He had put his hands on her. Like, at the end of the day, somebody violent, like, takes it too far one day. Maybe he didn't mean to, but some stuff went down, especially with the TV show. And like you said, I had just watched Jerry Springer. And the day that that episode aired, that couple also committed a murder against his wife or ex-wife. Honestly, like, TV shows, reality shows, they basically mess with somebody's psyche. Mm-hmm. And I do believe he had some help because he had his kids with him. So it's hard to dispose of a body and have your kids with you.
Mm-hmm. Wait a minute. As you just said that they didn't dispose of the body right then and right there. What if the girl did just get in the car, drive away, put it somewhere, call for a cab or Uber? I don't know if Uber was around then, and went back to Dale's house. And then late at night, you know, that's when they took the body out.
Yeah, that's a possibility too. But I feel like it was him. Mm-hmm. And he had some help. And unless the other person comes forward or Dale one day decides to tell the truth, like, it's going to be hard to figure out what happened. I wish I knew a little bit more too about his alibi. Like, how was he ruled out a suspect? Or
he wasn't ruled out a suspect at all.
Oh, so why isn't he being charged?
They don't have no evidence. That's what, like, the hard thing about this case. They need some type of evidence. And that's what the police said. We need something to put him behind bar, because everything is just like, kind of like he say, she say, like, oh, we think this happened. We think this happened. But they don't have evidence. It's hard to take a murder to a trial with no body. They have no bodies and evidence. So We don't want double jeopardy, so they need something.
Yeah.
They have no camera footage that he took the car. They have no fingerprint because he threw the phone was found in like the lake. So it's like the fingerprints are gone. Even if they found fingerprints of him owning, he could say, "Yeah, that's my ex-fiance phone. Of course, my fingerprints are on her phone." You know, he could easily say that. Or she would show me a picture of the kids. He could easily say anything. We also remember that line he said, "Your day is coming." That's a threat to me.
Right.
Guys, this is our theories, and tell me, what do you think about this case? I would love to hear your theories on this case. Don't forget, we are on all social media. I just made us a Red Note account, so please go over there to check us out on Red Note. We're on TikTok. Yes, TikTok is back. We don't know how long. We are mostly on TikToks, but I'm trying to build our other social media, so please follow us there. I post us on YouTube. Please watch us on YouTube to see our beautiful face talking and looking at you. And guys, please rate us a 5-star. Leave us a 5-star review on Apple, on Spotify. Get us out there. Like, if your friends aren't into true crime, say, "Hey, listen to this new true crime show called Lesbian Detective." And I cannot wait to see you guys next week. Hope you have a fantastic day. And don't forget, everybody's a suspect.
Until proven innocent.
Bye.
Lesbian Detectives. Unsolved cases. She's still missing. Yeah, they haven't found her yet. Well, let's talk about it.
They say he vanished without a trace. Could it be a psychotic break or a tragic accident? Police don't know where the body went. Unsolved murders, body still missing. That's unheard. Where's the witness? Lesbian detectives, what's going on? City on high alert, this out the norm. He did what, the who? Man, that ain't real, these crimes ain't true. Then come uncover these theories with us. We live right now, tuning in is a must.
Right now, Lesbian Detectives. Lesbian Detectives. We about to start the show, so get your popcorn ready, let's go. Pay attention to the message I present to you, the Lesbian Detectives.